Hi, welcome back to yoga with Crystal. And we're going to do, this is a vinyasa sequence that we'll do today. And if you were with me earlier this week, some of these poses and flows might look familiar, but we'll switch it up a bit. So why don't we get started in child's pose. So come down on the mat and you can bring the feet and the ankles together behind you. Either have the knees at a V or you can have the knees next to each other. But in this first child's pose, why don't we put the arms out in front of us, put some space between the fingers, getting a stretch on the side of the body. While you're here in child's pose, big toes may be touching. Forehead is on the mat. Maybe you move the forehead from side to side, giving it a little massage. Start to be mindful of our breath. Nice deep inhales and exhales. Remembering that throughout the practice, you can always come back to child's pose to reconnect to the breath, reconnect with your intention for your practice today. Child's pose is always available. Let's take another breath in the nose, through the nose, and sigh out the mouth. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, through the nose, sigh out the mouth. Take another couple breaths and we'll come to table pose, all fours. Once in table, go ahead and move from side to side. Maybe you take the hips back and forth. Maybe you take the hips around in one direction, dropping them to the heels. Then maybe the other direction. All the while, continuing to breathe. Nice. And if you are moving around in circles, make sure to take both directions. Excellent. From here, let's take a couple cat-cows. Maybe more than a couple cat-cows, but we're in our neutral table pose now, and the shoulders are above the wrists, knees on the ground, toes can be tucked or top of feet on the mat. But we want to inhale, drop the belly, and look up. Gaze goes up for cow. And then we round the back, chin to chest. Gaze goes down. Exhale for cat. So it's inhaling, look up, drop the belly. Exhale for cat. And let's continue to do that, the measure of your own breath. Inhale, drop the belly, look up for cow. Exhale, round the back for cat. Nice. Let's take two more of those, full cycle of inhale and exhale. And then come back to a neutral table. Okay. Once in neutral table, let's take an inhale and float the right arm off to the side and up. Maybe gaze goes up to look at the hand. We're going to thread the needle. So bring the right arm behind the left. Arm is coming down to the mat. Shoulder is coming down to the mat. Let the cheek land. Take some breaths here. The right arm, we've threaded the needle, so the right arm is behind the left. Right palm is facing up. And maybe you take a half bind here. So take the left arm around the back like you're trying to put it in your right hip pocket. So now we've got the half bind and continue to breathe. Take another breath. Uncurl left arm, let the left hand come back down to the mat. Start to remove the right arm from behind the left. Float it once again back up, and right hand meets the left on the mat. And let's do that for the left side. So we'll take left arm, float it up to the sky, gaze goes up. And thread that left arm behind the right. Arm meets the mat, left shoulder meets the mat, left hand palm is facing up. Take a breath here. And maybe you take the half bind, let right arm reach behind the back and into that left hip pocket. If you have the half bind, with the right hand come back down to the ground. Take the left hand back up and float it back down to the mat. And let's put a little movement there in our neutral table. Maybe move the hips from side to side. On your next inhale, float the right arm up in front of you. We're going to come to a spinal balance. So right arm is in front of you, spine is long, reaching all the way through the neck, through the crown of the head is forward, reaching like right arm. Maybe you turn the right hand as if you're trying to shake someone's hand. And now, once you're steady, left leg goes back behind you. So we've got opposite leg, opposite arm, and we're balancing on that left hand. Here you may want the right foot flat on the earth. Try and get that left leg and right arm about the same height off the ground. Once we're here, why don't we take a little crunch and take right elbow to left knee. And back out in our spinal balance. Take another breath and let the limbs meet the ground. Shake that out. We'll move the hips from side to side, and we'll do that on the left. So when you're ready, left arm floats out in front of you. The spine is long, crown is reaching forward. When you're ready, that right leg reaches back. Maybe you flex the foot here. Now we're balancing on that right hand and left leg. I find that it helps to keep left foot flat on the ground. Whatever works for you. Take another breath. Inhale and curl in left elbow, right knee. And exhale it back out. Take a breath and exhale your limbs back down to the ground. And maybe we move a little bit from side to side. Nice. On your next inhale, we're going to meet in downward dog. So you can move right there from table to downward dog. Once in downward dog, go ahead and pedal out the feet. Getting a nice deep stretch in the calves. Drop the head in between the arms. Make sure you soften in the jaw muscles, in the forehead. You don't want to hold any tension there. Just want to get heavy in the head and neck. Heels don't need to touch the ground, but they are reaching for the ground. Take a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, come to the toes. Let your gaze go between your hands and walk the feet up to the top of the mat and come into a forward fold. Maybe we sway from side to side here. Grab opposite elbows. And again, just let the head hang heavy. And this should feel pretty good, but if you feel dizzy, go ahead and come out of it. But it should feel sort of relaxing. So, if you have the bind, if you have the elbows, let the elbows go, let the arms hang long. Take an inhale, come to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. On an inhale, float your arms all the way overhead and bring the hands to heart center prayer. We'll take a couple sound salutations before we get started with our flow. So maybe you set an intention for what you want in these next, we have about 45 minutes left, what you want from your practice, what you want to take from your practice. You can have that in the back of your mind as we flow together. Take another inhale. Arms are up overhead. Why don't we grab opposite elbows here, kind of like when we were hanging forward. Grab opposite elbows and let's take a bend to the right, side bend to the right. Make sure not to drop that left shoulder. Try and keep it in line. We don't want to curl in. Take another inhale. Exhale, back to center. Reach up. Re-engage the bind. Grab opposite elbows. And this time we'll take a side bend to the left. Remember to breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale it back to center. Baby back bend here. Take an inhale and exhale. Hinge all the way forward. Maybe hands graze the ground. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale the arms all the way back overhead. Arms, hands come to prayer. Inhale the arms up overhead. This time, let's have the right arm grab left wrist. We'll do another side bend. Sometimes it helps, feels nice to take one foot off the mat. So if we're bending to the right, we'll take that left foot off the mat, gently pulling on left wrist to give us a nice stretch. Take another breath. Come back to center, reach to the heavens. Left hand grabs right wrist, and we do a side bend to the left. Maybe we let the right foot go out to the side. Inhale back to center, reach up, up, up. Baby back bend here, and on an exhale, fall all the way forward. Inhale to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. And this time, let's all come to our mat, belly to the mat. belly to the mat. And we'll come into baby cobra. So put the hands on either side of your rib cage, chest area. Elbows are in, not flying away. Elbows are in. And let's just peel the top of the chest off the floor. Ribs are still on the floor. Belly is still on the floor. This is our baby cobra. Take a breath and exhale it back to the mat. And when we talk about a vinyasa, it's just linking our poses together in a flow. We link them together with a vinyasa, where we can take a baby cobra or maybe cobra. And this time we're peeling the chest up, top of the chest, but also the rib cage this time comes off the mat. Belly is on the mat for cobra. Take an inhale, exhale back to the mat. Maybe cheek rest on the mat this time. Or you can take upward dog. And here, we're peeling the chest off the mat, belly, groin, legs, everything is off the mat, just the tops of the feet. This is our upward dog. Okay, so lots of options when we take that vinyasa. Back down to the mat, or you don't have to take one at all. That's always an option. So on an inhale, let's come back to downward dog. Maybe pedal out the feet again. On an inhale, let's take the right leg up. Exhale it down the middle in between the hands. Spin the back foot flat and come up to warrior one. Try to square the hips over that right leg. Thighs parallel to the floor. Knee is tracking with the ankle, but not past the ankle. And that left foot, the sole is fully on the ground. Outside of the foot is also touching the ground. So you don't want to sort of be on one side of the foot. Try and totally engage that back foot. Take another breath and hands come back down to the mat. Right leg goes to the back, and here's where we can take our vinyasa. So we lower down chaturanga, this low plank, and here come up to cobra or upward dog, and then curl over the toes, back to downward dog. Nice. On an inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale it right down the middle between the hands. Spin the back foot flat and come in to warrior one, Virabhadrasana, on the other side. And take a breath here. Again, that right foot, entire sole of the foot is on the earth. Hips are squared. Take another breath. And let the hands meet the mat. Left foot goes back. Either take a vinyasa or meet us back at downward dog. Nice. Come to the toes. Here, walk, step, or float to the front of your mat. We'll meet in a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, the arms all the way overhead. Take a baby back bend. Fall forward on an exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And come to a plank pose, high plank pose. And let's hold this plank. Here in plank, you're holding in, tightening the core, making sure that the neck is not too high or too low. A nice long spine through the crown of the head. Let's lower to our chaturanga. and take a vinyasa. Let's add on. Right leg goes up, down the front for warrior one. From warrior one, let's start to hinge forward, coming into our standing split. Take a breath here. In standing split, maybe you point the toe, maybe the toes are flexed. From standing split, we're going to come into half moon. So we're on the right foot, right hand is already down. We're going to start to peel the body open to the left side, and left arm reaches up, left leg is lifted. Here I think it helps to have left foot flexed. So go ahead and flex left foot. Maybe you play with balance here on that right hand, trying to come up just to the fingertips. Make sure that you're not too hunched over. Take another breath here and let the left hand meet the ground. Both legs go back, find a plank pose, and take a vinyasa. Very nice. And remember, you can always go back to downward dog. Let's do the left side. With an inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left foot in between the hands. Right foot spins flat. Come up to your warrior one. Start to hinge forward. We're going to come into that standing split. Maybe here you play with balance, trying to take one hand or both hands off the floor. Maybe you grab the ankle. Maybe you stay in that standing split. But we're coming into half moon. So start to let that left foot and left hand take over for balance, for the weight. Start to peel that right arm up. Reach the sky. You're almost in like a T pose with the arms. Right hip. Make sure that right hip is working to lift the leg. Flex the foot. Maybe your gaze goes up to look at the hand. Take another breath. Right arm meets the ground. Feet go back to plank pose and take a vinyasa, or we'll meet in downward dog. Very nice. And why don't we take a child's pose here? Maybe you get a drink of water. Start to recenter as we're about halfway through our practice now. And take 4 more breaths here in child's pose. On your next inhale, come back up to table. And then we'll come into our downward dog, upside down V. Pedal out the feet again. And on your next inhale, right leg goes long behind you. Bring the right leg forward and between the hands, and we're coming into our crescent pose, crescent warrior or high lunge. You're on the ball of the left foot, back foot, and on the ball of that foot. The right leg, similar to our warrior one. Hips out front. The right thigh is parallel with the ground. Arms are up, but this time we're on the ball of the back foot. And you may have that left foot not directly behind the right, but just a little more out to the left. That can help with balance. Take another breath here. And cartwheel the hands down to the ground. Lower chaturanga to upward dog. Back to downward dog. And now the left foot extends long. Bring the left foot leg in. Foot in between the hands. Stay on the ball of the back foot. And now we come to crescent on the left side. And take a breath here. Nice. Maybe here you can have you got a little space for a back bend. Go ahead. Take an inhale. Come back up. Take another breath. And let the hands meet the ground. Left leg goes back. And chaturanga. Nice. Let's build on for that. So take a couple breaths here in downward dog. And we'll add a little bit more. Okay, come to the toes, float, step or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, coming all the way up. Take a baby back bend, Tadasana, mountain pose, and exhale all the way back down. Inhale, halfway lift. And let's find a plank pose, chaturanga. Take a vinyasa, take your time. Back to downward dog. Take 3 breaths here in downward dog. Right leg goes up. Bring right leg down the middle. Stay on the ball of the back foot. Come into crescent pose. Take a breath here. We're going to go from crescent into majorette. So the left leg is behind us. Get heavy in the right. You need your core to do this, to lift that left leg back and your thigh muscles. So we'll come into majorette. And if you fall out of it, no worries. Here in majorette, you want to flex that left foot. From majorette, we're going to come into our figure 4. So cross the left ankle over the right knee. Maybe there you bring the hands to prayer. Maybe you can mid bend down or come into a seated position, a couple inches. Breathe. Inhale. Maybe on the exhale you can get a little deeper in your seat. Take another breath. And let's take it back to majorette. Left knee is up. Remember to flex the foot. Arms are up. And from here, we're going to come into warrior 3. So we start to hinge forward while the left leg starts to kick back. Take your time, slowly, slowly. Left foot is still flexed, right leg is long, nice. Looking down, try and find something on the ground that's not moving. That usually helps. Maybe you keep the arms out in front. Maybe to the side if you've got the space. Or out to the side like airplane pose. Maybe behind you. Left leg is lifted, spine is straight. And let's bring it back into majorette. And shake it out. Let's fall forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And take a vinyasa or meet us back in downward facing dog. Nice. Take 3 breaths once you get to downward dog. This time, float the left leg up behind you. And let it come down straight center and between the hands, staying on the ball of the back foot. Arms go up for crescent. Sink deep in this crescent pose. High in the ball of the foot can help with balance. When you feel steady, we're going to come into our majorette. So this time, right leg finds the front, knee is up. Take an inhale and exhale to majorette. Hold here. Breathe into the pose. Right foot is flexed. Maybe you come into that figure 4. Right ankle over the left knee. Hands come to prayer. Once in prayer, maybe you come to a seat if it's comfortable for the knee. If not, stay where you are in your figure 4, because that's enough. You just want to go to your personal edge. And then every side of the body is different. I felt a little tweak in my knee on the left. Didn't feel it on the right. Continue to breathe. Come out of our figure 4, back to majorette. And you remember, this is where we're going to our warrior 3. So start to hinge forward. Right leg is reaching long behind us. That right foot is still flexed. Look down. Maybe you can get the head in line with the arms. Spine is long. Left leg is strong. Breathe into this space here. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Let's come back up to majorette, the way we came in. Right knee is lifted again, foot is flexed. And let's take the foot down to the mat. Sort of shake that out. On an inhale, let the arms go back overhead. Take a nice back bend, then hinge all the way forward. And breathe. Maybe we find the elbows once again. Move from side to side. If you have the bind, we'll let the bind go. Take a halfway lift, and we'll do that flow again a little faster. Exhale, fall forward. Take a vinyasa, or not. Meet us in downward dog. And right leg goes up on an inhale. Exhale, right leg, right foot in between the hands. Come up the crescent. From crescent, take an inhale, we're moving to majorette. Take our figure 4, gentleman's pose. Take another breath. Come back to majorette. From here, we're going to warrior 3. And if you fall out of that pose, just get back in it, it's fine. From warrior 3, back to majorette. Release the leg, fall forward. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Take a vinyasa or meet in downward dog. And take a breath once you're in downward dog. Inhale, left leg goes up. Exhale, left leg down the middle. Come into your crescent high lunge pose. Inhale to majorette. Right knee is up, foot is flexed. Take a breath and exhale to figure 4. Inhale back to majorette. And exhale to warrior 3. Right leg is behind you, foot is flexed. The arms can be anywhere that is comfortable for you, that helps with balance. Take another breath here. And come back into majorette and release. Let's let the arms float up. Take a back bend, bend all the way, hinging forward, hands meet the earth. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And let's all meet in a child's pose. Nicely done, everyone. In child's pose, the arms can be active, straight forward in front of you, with the fingertips gripping the mat, taking them longer, getting a stretch in the shoulder and upper back. Or you can have them right by your side, wherever's comfortable. We'll take 4 breaths here in child's pose. When you're ready, from child's pose, we're going to come to our backs on the mat. And come to the sit bones, actually. Let's do some boat poses first. A little bit of core work before we come to the back. So we're on our sit bones, and with the feet can be flat on the floor, or we can come to our heels. And you can stay just like this as we work the core, or if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can put the legs up and let the shins, calves, parallel to the floor. And even in here, you can hold the back of the thighs if you need to. And if you have the space, the legs can go straight up, like that. There you go. So, lots of options wherever you're comfortable. So go ahead, get into your desired high boat, because we're going to go high, then we're going to go low. Okay. So this is going to be my high boat. I'll try and start here. I'll start here. So this is high boat. We'll hold it for 1, 2, 3, and limbs, arms go down for low boat. 1, 2, 3. High boat. Low boat. 2 more. High boat. Let the heart shine. Low boat. High boat. Low boat. Let's do 1 more. High boat. Low boat. And let's take it all the way to the ground. Very nice. Whew. I feel it too. Let the knees come into the chest. And let's cross the arms over the shins, and let's just take a little rock from side to side. And even though we're working the core, a nice massage of the spine can provide some relief from that core work. Here, why don't we go ahead and take a twist. So release the legs, and while they're still crossed and knees are still into the chest, take them to one side. Maybe take your arms out to cactus arms or to a T. So the knees are off to the right. Take your gaze to the left. So now gaze is to the left. You should be able to stretch in the side body. If you want a deeper stretch, you can take that top leg and pull it up a little bit, getting the heel of the left leg closer to right knee. That's only if you want a bit deeper stretch, but this is probably deep enough where we are, but always options. Take a breath. Inhale the knees back into the chest, and this time drop them off to the left. You may hear some creaking. I always hear some creaking. Again, arms are to a T or cactus arms. Gaze is off to the right. And breathe into that stretch. Inhale the knees back into the chest and move from side to side, again, massaging the spine. Nice. Let the soles of the feet meet the floor, so knees are still pointed up to the sky. Soles of the feet are on the ground. Bring them in a little bit, close to the glutes. The thighs are touching. And we're going to come into bridge pose. So start to, once your feet are securely planted, start to lift the glutes, lift the chest area, coming into the sort of slanted pose called bridge pose. Once you're here, if you've got your arms on the side, maybe you start to bring the shoulder blades under, closer together, under the back, and clasp the hands. And that should get you a little higher in your pose, in your bridge. So the heart is open, neck is long. Squeezing in the glutes as you press yourself higher. Shoulders, shoulder blades pulled in tight. And continue to breathe. If you have the bind behind the back, go ahead and unclasp the hands and lower down slowly. And here we can come into shoulder stand if that's in your practice. Take the legs up. And legs up is fine. This is a good pose. Sometimes if you're close to a wall, we do legs up the wall. Sort of have the circulation running in a different direction. You can stay here or you can take shoulder stand. For shoulder stand, start to come into plow pose so your legs will go behind you, toes headed for the floor. Support the lower back here. Bring the shoulder blades in and let the legs go straight up overhead. And so you don't want that pressure on the neck or the head. You want it on your shoulders, on your triceps should be holding that weight. If you're in shoulder stand, take a couple breaths here. And we're going to come out of it the way we got in. So start to lower the legs, the toes towards the ground, coming into that plow pose. The arms can go long beside you. And now vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly you're going to come back down to the mat. Nice work. And let the legs fall forward and take a breath. Very nice. Before we come into our final resting pose, since we're on our backs, let's go ahead and take a pose that'll give us some stretch in the hip area. So this is reclined pigeon. So let's bring the soles of the feet to the ground again. And this time, bring your right leg up and let the right heel, the foot, find the thigh. So it's almost like our figure 4 on our back. You can stay here if this feels like a deep enough stretch for you. If you want a little bit more, take the hands and put them behind the thigh. You have to lean up a little bit. Grab the behind the thigh and start to pull in on that left thigh while the right leg is pressing out, and you'll feel a stretch all along the right side. And flex the feet. Flex both feet and breathe. This is our reclined pigeon. Take another breath. Let the left foot meet the earth. Uncurl the right.
And now for the other side, bring left knee in, let the left foot find right thigh, and our figure 4 shape. Flex the left foot, reach behind the right thigh, pick that right leg up, we're in our figure 4. Both feet are flexed, and so we're starting to gently pull in on the right leg while the left is pressing out. So we have these opposing forces here. And again, we'll feel that stretch on the left side. Very nice. Keep the feet flexed. Breathe into this opening pose. Take another breath. Let the left foot find the earth. Right foot meets it. Maybe we window wiper those legs from side to side, those knees from side to side. You have about a minute or so to take any movements that might serve you right now. Maybe you come into a happy baby. So here we're still on our backs, the hands, knees are on the outside of the arms. We grab the outside of the foot, and again, we can massage the spine from side to side in this happy baby pose. Take some breaths. If you're in happy baby, we can release the feet. Let them go long on the mat. Arms can come by your sides. Find any last resting pose for our Savasana. Maybe you stay here with the legs long. Maybe you come into bound angle where the soles of the feet are touching. Maybe you have one hand on the belly and one on the chest. But wherever you are that's comfortable, get settled and take rest. As you start to come out of your resting pose, let's start to move the toes around. Move the head from side to side gently. Let the thumb touch each finger as we bring movement back into the body. Feel free to stay here in Savasana. If you're ready, take a curl to one side of your mat. Use your hand to bring you up to a seated position at the front of your mat. Hands can come to prayer, heart center. Let's all take a deep breath through the nose and sigh out. Thank you for joining me on your mat today. Thank yourself for making time for you. I hope you can take your yoga off the mat today and use it this Sunday evening. Namaste.